Its origins hatched in Slavic folklore. The mythical firebird's journey westward has only enhanced its Avian lore. Finding sanctuary amid sands both timeless and perpetual, the allure of the bird's plumage radiant, eyes hypnotic, talons just, and song enchanting prove a presence magical for those who respect its powers, and a harbinger dark for those who seek to tame its flight. In tales of yore, times bygone, the firebird protects its nest, the hue of its brilliant feathers, a guiding glow of belief, of renewal, of light, of home. A narrative rooted in myth, such powers, such imaginations are today realized with a tale of light and freeze. For the firebird and those who embrace its journey, it is a tale of seasons reborn, a fable actualized by the forge of steel blade and wooden implement, a legend which grows by roar and score. It is a story of fire and ice.
Greetings, friends and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere Jagger Firkus red rocket away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer, and of course proud and enthused to be hosting the Firebirds longest running podcast. Now entering year 4 of Birds hockey, year 4 of Fire and Ice. For my partner in this endeavor, as you heard, the Desert Sun. So enthused to be aligning myself with an outlet that I personally had the pleasure to contribute to and write for over a dozen years, and one that has informed our Coachella Valley for a near century. Desert Sun, dating back to 1927. For the partnership, you can find all episodes on desertsun.com in concert with all their great Firebirds reportage and everything else going around the valley. Spectrum of sporting socials as well. These episodes and this episode will all be posted on there. Fresh feature, going to revisit it again, second episode of the season, going to do it for the second time. The Desert Shootout segment at the end of every show. Rapid fire Q&A. In this episode, we will welcome Shad Powers. I would tell you Shad's title. I would precede his name with the title, but I don't know exactly Shad's title because he's got a promotion. He's got a new one. He may well be doing this interview, although it is an audio medium, he might be doing it in a suit because he has moved up in the newspaper world. Again, look forward to that visit with Shad to close out the show in what is now the regular segment of the Desert Suns Desert Shootout. Preceding that chat, looking forward to this visit, young Tyson Jugnauth. 21-year-old Tyson Jugnauth having a fine rookie season, availing himself quite well through the Birds' first 6 games. Look forward to that feature visit and that interview presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Per Desert Willow, per DW, the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, great time, special time to go check out either or both the Mountain View and Firecliff courses. Mountain View, of course, as you might remember from episode 1 of this season, at that time was undergoing overseed. Well, that is now concluded. As has overseed concluded on the practice facilities. It's all open, as is the Firecliff. You might remember from years previous, dudes, that the Firecliff, of course, goes with a late overseed. It's a great strategy because right now, in this sneaky good time to be playing golf and going to Firebirds games here in the Coachella Valley, both courses are open. The Firecliff overseed will take place, if you're taking notes, from November 3rd to December 18th. But right now, in this prime pocket with perfect temps, fine playing conditions, you can check out either or both golf courses at Desert Willow Golf Resort. Get those tee times online at desertwillow.com. At Firecliff, of course. I told you this last time. I'm going to tell you this on occasion throughout the course of the season. That charts. I love both these courses. Actually, could be playing Desert Willow today. Could be playing right now. Opted for the conversation with Tyson Jugnauth instead. I think it was a good trade. The Firecliff, though, that charts among the best you can play in all of California. California public golf courses. So says both Golf Digest and Golf Week. One more thing I want to mention or remind you about Desert Willow, the new synergy between DW and the Firebirds this December 13th and 14th. What was once a pair of separate golf events will now team the Firebirds One Valley Foundation with the long-standing Grant Fuhr Celebrity Invitational to form a super singular golf event held at Desert Willow. You want to tee up with some Firebirds, you want to play with some of Grant's athletic luminary pals, check it out at onevalleyfoundation.org. A couple of those celeb pals already on the list include one of my all-time favorites, Marcus Allen. That's who I grew up idolizing. He's going to be there. Kenny Lofton, I know to the great pleasure of DW Superintendent Christopher Bean, he is going to be there. Kenny Lofton, the great Jeremy Roenick already signed up. A lot more names to be added to that list, of course. Get your group signed up for the Grant Fuhr Celebrity Invitational taking place at Desert Willow, onevalleyfoundation.org. All right, dudes. Slide right into our Firebirds freeze frame segment. First episode of the season, of course, preceded any games. We've now got 6 games under the belt, and such a great new sponsor to add to the Fire and Ice podcast, sponsoring this Firebirds freeze frame segment. You know, dudes, that ice action is not limited to Acrisure Arena alone. Hockey fans seeking some pregame drinks, postgame toasts, you only need to look yonder high desert, where our Firebirds friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel, that's GRND SQRL, both of them serving up some awesome eats, incredible beers in downtown 29 Palms. Ground Squirrel, went up there a couple weeks ago, awesome gastropub style scratch-made menu. I might again suggest some of the best wings I've ever had. The pepperberry dry rub wings. Start off with that. Match it with the rotating list of craft beers. Those seeking a potent power play, skate it right on over down the street, just about a block away, to 29 Palms Beer Company, where they're brewing their own phenomenal beers right on site and televising every Firebirds game, home or away. Whether you're local here seeking a fun new scene, you're a desert guest perhaps, up there exploring Joshua Tree and Pioneer Town. Maybe you're celebrating a Birds win or drowning your sorrows after a loss. You lace up the hospitality in the high desert in 29 Palms, where the Ground Squirrel and 29 Palms Beer Company, those are your high desert hockey homes. All right, friends, on to the Firebirds freeze frame segment. As mentioned, as prefaced, 6 games under the belt, and an interesting start for these baby birds. A record of 2-3-2, currently placing them in 7th in the Pacific Division. I guess if the playoffs started today, which they don't, that would technically have us in the postseason. But an interesting progression. We know this team is young. I'm going to get to that momentarily. With just 1 goal in the first 2 games, Firebirds found some progress. They found some vibe. They found some offense. After 1 goal in the first 2, Birds scored 18 over the course of the next 4. Pretty good road trip. One thing certainly need to be corrected. With those goals, we've got 24 goals against. That is tied for the most allowed in the entire conference. Certainly a couple things to shore up on the back end. We'll see if they do it as they get to the schedule, because the Birds are now coming back home to Acrisure Arena. We'll see them this Thursday, October 30th. A little bit spooky, not quite Halloween. 6:30 start. Try to get some vengeance after that opening night loss, that season opening loss to San Diego. The Gulls are back in town. Want to remind us that is not a 7 o'clock start, nor will any game, save for New Year's Eve, be 7 o'clock starts, the traditional 7 o'clock starts. That is now 6:30. Firebirds tinkering a little bit this year, a half hour earlier, Thursday night at the barn at 6:30. It's going to follow up with some kind of tough games against first place Colorado this Saturday, November 1. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop against the Colorado Eagles. Should editorialize the first place Colorado Eagles. Really good hockey team. Going to see them again as well on Wednesday, November 5th. Colorado in town. Or I should say, still in town. I don't know. I haven't checked the Eagles schedule. I don't know if they're going to have 3 down days in the Coachella Valley before that game in Palm Desert on the 5th, 6:30 p.m. puck drop. Not a bad gig. Be able to hang out in the desert at the onset of November. Back-to-back games against first place Colorado should be a good test for the Birds. Coachella Valley then hits the road next Friday and Saturday, November 7th and 8th, respectively. A couple of road games at the Tucson Roadrunners. Those are 7 p.m. starts, Mountain Time considered. Let's get to the roster. Let's get to some stats. Few transactions referenced those baby birds. Well, the Firebirds, who started the season as the league's youngest team, we have gotten even younger with the respective call-ups since the season began of veteran John Hayden and Ben Myers, both of whom have been called up. So the young birds have gotten even younger by virtue of not having those two dudes on the roster. But we'll see what happens over the course of weeks ahead. I sense that Seattle, Big Daddy Kraken, are going to get a few guys back on their roster. We'll see who gets brought back down. Get to some of the players and the stats here specifically. You mentioned Jagger Firkus at the outset of this episode. Great road trip for Jagger. All told on the season, 7 points. That is 3 goals, tied for a team high, with 4 assists, also tied for a team high. Those 7 cumulative points currently place Jagger tied for 12th in the entire AHL, off to a great season, rather. A man with red hair. One of 2 guys we have, by the way, with red hair, Ty Nelson being the other. Logan Morrison also had himself a nice road trip, now with 5 points on the season, 3 goals. That is tied for a team high with 2 assists. Jacob Melanson also with 5 points on the season thus far, 2 goals coupled with 3 assists. Oscar Molgaard, talked a lot about Oscar in the first episode of this year when visiting with Troy Bodie. He's got 4 points through 6 games, rather. 2 points matched with 2 assists. And this episode's guest, Tyson Jugnauth, 4 points on the year. He's got a team high tied 4 assists, 3 of which, by the way, came in one of those road games. Per the netminders, Nikke Koko. Nikke did suffer an injury recently. Going to see what happens on Thursday night if he is back in the lineup. 3 games for Nikke, record of 1-2, goals against of 3.62, and a save percentage of .892. The Swede, I know our friend and sponsor, Joel Peterson from the Ground Squirrel and 29 Palms Brewing Company. He's going to appreciate this of his fellow Swede. Victor Osman, 3 games on the record of 1-1-1. Goals against of 3.75 and a save percentage thus far into the young season of .870 for the Swede, Victor Osman. All right, dudes. It's our Firebirds Freeze Fame segment. Let us skate on over to this episode's feature interview presented by Desert Willow with our guest, Tyson Jugnauth. All right, Firebirds friends, as prefaced on this episode, welcoming for the first time here in his rookie season with the CB Firebirds. He's a 21-year-old Toronto-born defenseman, the 100th pick in the 2022 draft, coming to us by way of the WHL, where he totally lit it up in Portland last year. Not a misprint from the Blue Line, friends. 122 points in 83 total games. That's playoffs and regular season combined. No surprise, no big shock that he was set league's defenseman of the year. Welcome to the program. 6 games into his Firebirds career, Tyson Jugnauth. Hello, Tyson.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the desert. Thank you for joining. Let's start with this, man. I always like to ask new players about their desert introduction and desert experience, and we'll get to that. But let's first go a little bit chronologically. This really interests me about your path to the desert and the Coachella Valley. And I kind of want to go from you're playing hockey at Wisconsin, then you went to the juniors, then you committed to Michigan State, and then you got your entry-level contract from the Kraken, and now we find you here. Do I have all that accurate?
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
That was I'm almost proud of myself that I followed the Tyson Jugnauth chronology. At Wisconsin, how old were you when you first have played about a year and a half approximately at Wisconsin?
I was 18 my first year, and then I left halfway through my 19-year-old year.
Okay.
Yeah.
18 years old in Madison, Wisconsin, man. That's a place where I've spent a a lot of time. I guess you could call them my hate Ashbury years, but certainly enjoyed my time and summers spent in Madison, Wisconsin. Was that a good place for you to live? Did you enjoy that spot?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Madison's a ton of fun. It's a
Yeah.
good spot to play college hockey. So it was a good year and a half while I was there.
Yeah, I know that during your time there, they ultimately had some changes. I think it was in the coaching staff. I don't know if for you that was impetus and a reason for you to go back then to play juniors.
Yeah, I think the coach that recruited me obviously got fired after my first year there, and then we got a new coach come in, and obviously my play style and his coaching style kind of didn't really get along that well, and I felt like I needed more opportunity to continue my development, so it's the decision I made just before Christmas to leave and head to Portland in the dub.
Yeah, certainly a good decision for you, seemingly one that has worked out very well to date. You then committed to play, and our friend and fellow guest on this episode, Shad Powers, he loves Michigan State. You were going to become a Spartan, but am I correct in the entry level contract ended up finding you here instead of playing in college again?
Yeah, it was around Christmas time. I committed to Michigan State. Just I didn't really know what was going to happen, and me being 20, it was kind of a thing that I didn't really want to not have an option for next year, kind of depending on how the rest of the year went. And then obviously, had a pretty successful year. And then they came to me with an entry level contract, and there was a little bit of not sure whether it was going to be best for me to sign or go to Michigan State and play there for a year, but kind of not signing and coming to the desert and instead.
Okay. Talk about your year last year in the WHL. Talk to teammates that are present. We've also talked with a lot of former Firebirds on the three previous years of this program, playing juniors, and the stats for the best players. I think it goes without saying, like yours, it's not uncommon to see these eye-popping goal totals, point totals. I'm not going to consider, and I never have. I've never professed to be any kind of expert on the juniors. But is there any defense played in those leagues? How do these points get so eye-poppingly high, Tyson?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It is pretty common. I think it depends on the year. When I came from Wisconsin, I think there was like 850 goal scorers and like 12 guys with 100 points or something like something ridiculous. And then last year there was no 50 goal scorers in our league, but there was obviously a bunch of guys with 100 points. So it is a high scoring league, and there's a lot of elite players in the league too that are can put up those kind of numbers. But yeah, it is. You don't see those kind of numbers anywhere else.
But among those elite players, must account for some elite goaltenders and some elite defenders, yet the point totals remain ridiculously high.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is about that league, but there's some high numbers.
I want to stick with this chronology a little bit since we've established it thus far, Tyson. I read a great article about you that was on NHL.com a couple months ago. And then I subsequently asked Troy Bodie about this. He was the guest on the first episode of the season about Tyson Jugnauth taking his summertime instead of going out to fish, play golf, hang out with your pals, do whatever 21-year-olds might want to do in the summertime. You, on your own dime, went to Seattle, Washington, got yourself set up with a place to live, and essentially rather spent the entire summer working out and training. Is this all correct?
Yeah, yeah, I did. It was tough just because obviously I'm from Kelowna, so it's obviously a nice place to spend your summers. My whole family's there, and a lot of my friends are there too. So definitely tough doing that. But I think I kind of looked at it as, this is what's going to get me to the National Hockey League the quickest. And I knew that I needed to get my body in a place where I was ready to play in the American League this year and hopefully the NHL for years to come. And I knew that the step for that was to go to Seattle and work with their guys and get in front of them, because obviously they have my best interest in mind. Like if I do well, their team does well, and everyone looks good. So I think it was big for me to get down there and train with them. And, they did an amazing job. Nate and Jake there in Seattle, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you took your entire summer to do this. And I know that there are some other players that are there, might be rehabbing, some that are coming and going, but you were the only player that spent the entirety of the summer doing that, correct?
Yeah, I was the only one there. Jamie Alexiak and Jaden Schwartz were there kind of early in the summer, and then Philip Grubauer was there in July. He was kind of there for the entire summer, so at least there were some other guys around. But yeah, it's pretty much just me there the whole time.
By virtue of being there, oftentimes by yourself, and this is what I kind of took from the article, is that you had the benefit of like the Kraken strength and conditioning team kind of to yourself for a lot of those days.
Yeah, I mean, majority of the day is just to myself. I had either Nate or Jake were in the gym with me all the time. I pretty much eyes on me the whole time, which is a good thing, but also sometimes like I don't want you to watch me right now. But yeah, and then also I had Colette, who's a nutritionist down in Seattle, and she was there too, and I pretty much had her to myself as well. So it was a great setup for me, and to be able to use those resources Seattle has was great.
Yeah. What are some of the takeaways, some of the things that you learned from that summer experience, things that you weren't doing before from a training or nutrition perspective, Tyson?
A lot. I think I honestly learned how to like grow up a little bit. Learn living by yourself. I kind of had to like learn to cook for myself, learn to, because obviously living in a billet house is much different. You're with a family, but now I'm with by myself. And then training wise, it was like I don't think I ever had a summer that hard before. They ran me into the ground pretty good every day. So yeah, I understand what a hard summer looks like after that.
From the nutrition aspect, was there something that you were used to eating a lot, perhaps even a guilty pleasure that having the nutritionist by your side on a daily basis that now you don't eat that thing anymore, you eat something else instead?
No, for me, it was more about putting on weight. So I was never the biggest guy. So it was a lot about like how much I actually do have to eat in a day. Um, and that whether that be carbs, proteins, anything like that. And then during workouts too, they kind of had me on these different like carb drinks and carb snacks just for like energy and weight gain and stuff like that. And, it's something I haven't done before, but it helped me a lot.
So how much are you eating now?
Well, I still am trying to get better at that, but yeah, definitely more than I was before.
But what does that mean specifically? Does that mean like more snacks, more meals that, or the meals that you're having are bigger, or as you said, more carbs? I don't know. Explain the diet.
It's more on your plate kind of when you're eating for me. And then also for me, it's just kind of being more mindful about it. Like I could go and just like before this and just like miss a lunch and I wouldn't even think about it. And now it's kind of like I make sure I get like 3 meals a day and, make sure I'm eating snacks throughout the day too. And just kind of after being there in the summer with obviously Colette kind of reminding me a ton, like it's kind of like in my head now, like I'm pretty like trying to get as much as I can in my body every day.
How much weight did you put on over the summer?
I got up to 184 pounds and I was 170 when I got there.
Okay.
I've dropped back a little bit. I'm like around 180 now. But it's still a goal to put on weight throughout the year.
Is there a particular number that's a goal for you, what you'd like to weigh?
Like there's not a specific set number for me. I want to keep gaining weight, but I also don't want to lose any like speed, quickness, agility. So it's kind of finding that balance to make sure like, all that stays with my weight going up.
Friends, you're tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Firebirds rookie defenseman Tyson Jugnauth. Tyson, all that training, all that extra work, all that extra weight seemed to have paid off well for you, certainly in Kraken training camp, where there were a host of impressed people, a lot of great articles, a lot of great reactions to how you performed. I'd say the thing that was most visible, and you please correct me if I'm wrong, thing that it certainly stood out to me though was seeing this highlight of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl coming down on you 2-on-1, and you're laughing. This is an audio medium, but you're smiling at that because I know you probably watched it 100 times, man. You should just have that on a loop going around your house. But that caught the attention of a lot of people when you broke up those two dudes coming on you 2-on-1.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of texts about that. And a lot of people sending me that clip after, but yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things in the moment when I see that coming at me, you're like, oh, yeah, here we go. And you just kind of play it like every other 2-on-1 and you hope to get a stick on it. And I did. And obviously it kind of turned into something pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we know it's a preseason game, but let's not downplay it. That's not just any other 2-on-1. That's you trying to
Yeah.
make a name for yourself and to make an impression, not just on the Firebirds brass, but certainly on the Kraken brass. So
Mhm.
when you look up and you see those two guys bearing down the ice at you, there's just that half second of like, okay, there's Connor McDavid. He's 10 feet away from me. There's Leon Draisaitl. He's 5 feet away from me. And a little extra thought there.
Yeah. Well, when they first get the puck and start coming out of the zone, you're like, oh, here we go. And but kind of after that, you settle in and it's like you play. And I think that was the biggest thing for me throughout the whole preseason is just going out and playing and you know, just playing with nothing to lose almost.
Segueing that into your first 6 games with the Firebirds in the American Hockey League, how would you, I guess, personally grade? We don't need a letter grade or a number rating. I guess, how would you assess your performance through 6 games thus far in the season?
I think it's been okay. Obviously it's a different league. In the Western League for sure. Guys are better, guys are bigger. So it's definitely a learning curve for me. I feel like I've gotten better since the first game to the sixth game, and I'm going to continue to hopefully keep getting better. But there's definitely some areas in my game where I want to tighten up and become better, especially on the defensive side of the puck. And yeah, I'm going to keep working with Stu on that, and hopefully I'll just continue to get better.
Is the level of play in this league about what you thought? Is it more challenging than you thought? You tell me, Tyson.
It's about what I thought. It's kind of hard to like know what to think before you actually play. But it's a hard league in terms of the guys they're coming fast, they're coming hard. It's a heavy league. And I think that I'm just trying to manage that right now and figure out how to use my skill set in the best way I can to, produce offense at this level, as well as, become reliable defensively.
One of the tools of your trade. It's interesting when you look up articles and you read articles on hockey equipment. There's not a ton of articles about their strategic. You're smirking at me like you know what I'm going to ask,
Yeah.
man. But it bears asking. All right, so
Yeah.
we're talking about hockey sticks. Now there are a lot of articles out there that will break down tape on sticks and why some dudes like white and some dudes like black for their game day tape. There are not a lot of articles, nor is there, I would say, a lot of study or a lot of science between the color of one's actual stick. Now, Tyson Jugnauth goes with the white stick, which a lot of dudes don't because they say it could blend in too much and camouflage with the ice. But you played with the white stick for a while, haven't you?
Yeah. Since my second year at Wisconsin, I switched to it and haven't went back. And it's not really like science or anything like that. Like honestly, when I first saw it in Wisconsin, I thought it looked cool, so I ordered it. And then I kind of like when you're stick handling, like I like to like have my head up a lot. So when I can just see the puck, it like helps me stick handle and feel the puck a lot. And then also like now that I've switched to the white stick, it's like weird for my eyes to look at a black stick. So it's kind of like now I've just used it for so long, I don't feel like I can go back. But it's not really much about science of like hide the puck or anything like that. I just think it looks cool more than anything.
Okay. And it does look cool, especially during that like 150-foot assist that you had, I think, to Jacob Melanson in a nice comeback victory
Yeah.
for the Firebirds during your road trip. Have your teammates said anything? Have they given you any guff about that on the Firebirds this year? Like, why do you use that stick? Ask any questions?
No, not really. I think that I've used it for long enough now that people know it's just like the stick I use. I think it'd be different if you like just switch to it all of a sudden. They'd probably hear about it, but I've used it for so long already that I think people are just kind of like, oh yeah, it's normal.
But it's normal for you, but it is not normal for basically anybody else.
Yeah, I don't. I think I've only seen like a handful of other guys do that. Not many for sure.
Friends, a reminder tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Join this visit with Birds rookie defenseman Tyson Jugnauth. Tyson, got to talk about your family a little bit. An impressive cast of Jugnauths. Both of your parents, sir, are doctors, correct?
Yep.
Do they look at you like, oh, we're both these learned doctors. We went to school for all of these years. We have all these impressive leather-bound books, and we have all these journals and degrees and acronyms after our name, and our kids playing hockey and missing a tooth.
Oh, I hear about the tooth a lot. My mom does not like it every time. I've got a fake tooth. I can put it in. Every time I see her, she's asking why I'm not wearing it. Like, yeah, too much of a hassle. But yeah, it is pretty impressive that they're both doctors, and I get to hear about what they went through, and I always give my mom a hard time because she talks about her residency a lot. Pretty much compares it to everything that happens in me and my siblings' lives. But it's pretty crazy what they went through, and how they managed all that with 72 hours without sleep and kind of that kind of stuff. So when I have to bus for a couple hours overnight, kind of puts it in perspective that way.
What kind of doctors are they, respectively?
My dad's a thoracic surgeon, and then my mom's a pediatric nephrologist.
Okay. What
Yeah.
what does that mean? What's
So
for your mom?
my mom, that's a kidney specialist for kids.
Okay. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Did they want you to follow in those footsteps and for you to become a doctor?
They never pushed it. I think like obviously they would have been thrilled if I became a doctor, but they were never like, this is the path we want you to go down. I think they were always fully supportive of hockey, and they didn't push hockey, but they were if I'm gonna be all in on hockey, like they're fully supportive. So I think they love what I'm doing. They're always supporting and watch every game. They were in Calgary this past weekend. So yeah, they're all for it.
Did you ever have a personal interest if hockey wasn't your path of going into medicine yourself?
No, I no. Like I find the body pretty cool and how everything works, but I couldn't spend that much time in hospital.
Yeah, or looking at people's insides. I know that
Yeah.
sounds like demeaning. That's just me. I'm a wussy, man. I'd be grossed out. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of pretty crazy stories from my dad on that kind of stuff. So that stuff doesn't really bother me. But just being in the hospital that much and having to deal with needles, like I couldn't do it.
All right. And I was just giving you guff. I trust that your
Yeah.
folks are both very, very proud of you for the career that you've chosen and
Yeah.
all the success that you've had. I'm sure they don't look at you as any kind of jock knucklehead, despite their undoubted intellect and all their degrees. Skating, by the way, you should mention of the Jugnauth clan seems to run in the bloodline. Read a little bit about your brother, Colton. Is that accurate?
Yep.
All right. And he is a goalie. He's played the last couple of years. You need to tell me where he is now in the BCHL.
Yeah, he played in Surrey the last couple of years. This year he was in Cowichan for a little bit, and they got an older goalie, so now he's kind of looking for a new team. And hopefully that's going to come here any minute. And then I also have two younger brothers that play too, and they both play together on the U18 team back home, which is it's pretty cool for them to get to play together. But yeah, runs in the family for sure.
Yeah, I think that you're neglecting to mention your sister. I found more articles about her than I probably did about you or any of your brothers. She is a she is a competitive figure skater.
Yeah, she is. She wins a lot from what I hear. I don't. I try and watch as much as I can, but I don't really know that much about it. So I kind of watch my mom. I'm like, she do good. I'm not really sure, but seems like she gets a lot of medals, and she went to nationals the last few years too. So I think she's yeah, she does pretty well.
Those were the articles in particular that jumped out to me about her competing in the nationals. Does she have Olympic dreams, your sister?
I think she does. Um, I I think the it's this yeah, this year is the next one. So I'm sure that how she does at nationals this year is gonna kind of depend on how that does. So I'm hoping for the best for her and hope it goes well.
Are all of these siblings younger than you? Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Okay. I knew that
Yeah,
your sister was younger and that your brother Colton was younger.
yeah.
Provided that you are the oldest and that a lot of, or I guess everybody, all of your siblings are on skates, they ask you for advice.
Uh, no, not really. I think, well, my one brother's a goalie. It's almost two completely different positions, so not really. And then the two of my brothers that are younger, we're kind of always doing stuff together, and whether at the rink or in the backyard or something, it's just not really advice, just kind of doing stuff together. You kind of learn, they learn off me, and my youngest brother he's a pretty good player. Actually, my two younger brothers really good players, so kind of learn off them a little bit too.
Sure. BC, of course, one of the great places, one of my certainly favorite places in the world. But even given the beauty and the bounty of BC, you mentioned that your folks had opportunity to see you in Calgary. Will the Jugnauth clan be making it down to the desert to watch Tyson Jugnauth and the Firebirds this year?
Yeah, my mom's coming in November, so I think she's pretty excited to get out of the cold and get into the heat here. I'm sure my dad will come down sometime in the new year, I think. And then hopefully my brothers, if they have an off weekend or something like that, they can come down and check it out too. But I'm not sure. And then my sister is so busy with figure skating all the time, she can barely take 2 days off. So I don't know if she'll be able to come, but I'm sure she wants to.
Okay. Makes me worried when you say your parents are coming down here. It makes me feel like someone's going to be left back at the hospital sick. So let's get the timing just right. It
Yeah,
sounds like the Jugnauth calendar is well spaced and everybody has their plans. But now, man, obviously a great place to visit, and had a lot of just fun conversations with rookies over the years about their parents coming to the desert for the first time and experience not just Acrisure Arena, but everything that Coachella Valley has to offer. So I hope when
yeah.
your family does come up down here, that they get to enjoy that. Will that be their first experience here in the valley?
I think so. I don't
Okay.
think they've ever been here before, so I'm sure it will be.
All right. Very cool. Tyson, appreciate your time. I've enjoyed watching you play thus far, 6 games into your Firebirds career. We got a lot of home games coming up at Acrisure Arena. Continued success in your rookie campaign.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Firebirds flock, for the second time in as many episodes this season, we get out the holsters and the 6 shooters for the new Desert Shootout segment, the Desert Suns Desert Shootout segment. Last episode, we enjoyed the company of one Andrew L. John. For episode 2, we welcome in, I'd like to give him a title, but we'll need to figure out what it is now. The Desert Suns, Shad Powers. Hello, Shad.
Hey, Judd, how's it going?
It's going well. Fill us in, fill in the blank on what is your new title moving up in the newspaper world, your new title at the Desert Sun, sir.
Yeah, my title was sports columnist, is what I was, but I'm now the new sports and leisure editor at the Desert Sun, so that's kind of neat. It's my first day in that role is November 3rd, and so you'll still see me doing a lot of the same things I'm already doing, but a little more behind the scenes work, on some big projects and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I appreciate it. So happy to still be at the Desert Sun.
Yeah, man, and happy for you. Congrats to you. Backslaps. The leisure part in that title seems to be fitting for you. I trust that you'll continue to do yeoman's work at the Desert Sun, not just in that editorial capacity, but of course covering our Coachella Valley Firebirds as you've done so well across the first 3 seasons, now into season 4. That segues us to the Desert Shootout. We got 5 questions, rapid fire, set them up, knock them down, wrap up this episode. Question 1 for Shad Powers. Fill in the blank, dude. Most impressed by whom or what thus far into the Firebird season?
I'm going to go with a whom and go with Jagger Firkus. I've been excited on this road trip to see him do what I've been wanting to see him do. Obviously, all of us have for the last couple year and a couple games now. Is he's scoring goals when he has a nice opportunity. He's, obviously we knew him coming out of the junior ranks as just like a goal scoring machine. And, we knew it wouldn't be that easy in the AHL, of course, but I did expect him to maybe wow me with a few nice goals across the, landscape of a year. And it didn't happen a ton last year the way I wanted it to, at least. And, but this year, especially on this 4-game road trip they just finished, boy, he is looking good. When he's gotten an opportunity, he's found the back of the net creatively in some cases. And that's just exciting. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's a case of feeling more comfortable at this level. But when he was getting golden opportunities last year, he did not always cash in. Feels like he's cashing them in at a higher rate this year. And that's exciting because they need confident scorers, let's be honest.
Firkus Circus undoubtedly come to town, or at least other people's towns on that road trip. I think those back-to-back 3-point games for Jagger, and as I mentioned earlier in the episode, a team high 7 points thus far in the Firebirds' young season. Set them up, knock them down. We move to question number 2. Thus far into the year, just a mere 6 games. The most memorable moment in your mind so far?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously, it was exciting to get that overtime win and the late goal in regulation against Calgary, was it? And then to win the winner right after that by Melanson. That was exciting. I'm just going to kind of maybe this is cheating, but I'm excited. The moment I've been excited about is their ability to come back from deficits. And I think in their last 3 games, they've been down 2 goals at some point in the game. And in every case, they've come back twice to win it, once to tie it, but then, fall short in the end. But I like that. That's encouraging to me because this felt like the type of team that if they got behind by 2 goals, I would have said, yikes, because, they were not putting up a lot of points, certainly in those first 2 home games. And even last year, they weren't a real prolific scoring team when they got behind. So to see that happen frequently now, I guess you could say 3 in a row, makes me think like when they do get into a deficit, I have confidence now that they can come back that maybe I didn't have 2 weeks ago. So that's, I think, an encouraging, I know that's not technically a moment, but I'm bending the rules on that one. That's what's been impressive to me in this recent hot stretch.
Bend away. We are now going to test both the editors/reporters notebook. Shad has one of each now. Question number 3. And this one could be a tricky one because we just had the couple of home games and now we're coming back. But for the reporter's notebook, best quote that you've heard thus far into the season, something that stuck with you.
Well, like you said, I'm going to kind of cheat on this one too, and refer back to a quote that Coach Laxdal said before the season to me. I asked him about if we'll be able to sort of sense a different style of play with the notion that they're trying to mirror the Kraken, who, of course, we now have a new coach now. And he said, he kind of looked at me coyly and he said, does a chef reveal all of his recipes? And
Ooh.
I said, sometimes if they're trying to sell a cookbook or something. But he's like, no, I mean, yeah, and he's saying like, yes, there are some differences, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. And you might not notice and they're not going to be overt. But I think reading between the lines, what he's getting at and what he said something about last year at the end of the year too, is I think the focus is going to be on defense and the defensive strategies of a game more so than trying to find that high flying offense. Of course, he wants to have great offense too, but I think the, backbone of what they're trying to do is going to be on the defensive end. Now has that, revealed itself in these games? Maybe not so much because they have given up a lot of goals. But I thought that was an interesting quote. And I just in general, I like the playfulness of Laxdal. I think we've talked about this year. He feels more comfortable with us or just in general with himself. And he's been a lot more fun, I guess you could say. Even wins, losses, doesn't matter. He seems more, he really feels comfortable here in the Coachella Valley. I think he feels like it's his home now. And that quote was, would have been out of character for him last year.
Question number 4, and we intimated a few of these things, but I'm going to try to pressure you to say something different if possible. Your biggest concern thus far into the season, 6 games for the Firebirds.
Yeah, obviously one concern is injuries. Of course, they've had some, start the season with some, and they've added to that now. You have to look at the goalie position, obviously, I think is a concern. As we know in the world of hockey, we don't know a lot about the severity of injuries, but with Nikke Kokko out, it's on Victor Osman to be the main guy. If they haven't already, I'm sure they're going to have our boy Jack LaFontaine come in and be the number two. And maybe Kokko will be back next week. I don't know, but it's seeing what the landscape is going to be like without him is a sort of a concerning proposition. Osman has acquitted himself well, but one of the things that I was sort of counting on in the Firebirds' success this year was some great performances by Kokko on certain nights. And so the fact that he's banged up, and even when he was healthy, I would say maybe he underperformed from what we might have expected after such a great first year. That concerns me a little bit. This isn't the type of team that can score. Although they have had some nice goal scoring nights recently. You don't want to be. They can't be giving up 4 goals a game, and it seems like for the most part, that's been what's happening so far. So whether it's the defense, which I just said was supposed to be a focus, and the goalkeeping, those things added together are still concerning at this point. Which is kind of the opposite of what I would have expected coming in. Now it seems like the offense is clicking a little bit. Got to get those two things working at the same time.
To reiterate, pardon me, from earlier in the show, 24 goals against. That is tied for dead last currently in the Western Conference. Is some of it the goalies? Perhaps. Is some of it the men in front of them? Perhaps. The season is young, but you're right. Tough to win hockey games when you're giving up that many goals a game. Desert Shootout, 5th and final question. We call it What's Cracking? Who do you see as the next call-up to the Seattle Kraken from the Firebirds, Shad?
Well, this is a tough one because all those guys are already up there.
Yes.
They've already got Ben Myers and John Hayden, but I guess I'd have to go. A logical pick would be Jacob Melanson. I think he's the most NHL ready. Obviously, he's been up there a cup of coffee a few times. Seems like he's playing well right now. He's just sort of got that pro sort of edge to him. And I think if they needed another guy, and boy, they're having some injury problems too. It wouldn't surprise me to see Melanson pop up there. But they better send somebody good back down because I'm starting to get frustrating. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, to be missing Hayden and Myers already, and they've already had a few other guys go up and down. So I guess the answer to the what's cracking though, I think this Melanson. I don't know what would be. Do you have who else would be a candidate?
Nobody.
Okay.
I would say nobody else. I would have to agree with you 1,000%. We looked at Jacob Melanson as a leader, especially among the baby birds heading into this season, and he has been just that. He's put in some points, but his 200-foot game, and this is what we've heard. I guess both of our head coaches in our history compliment Jacob Melanson that he's an old school player. He's going to get you from end to end. He's looking for contact, but he's also coupling that physicality with a real blue collar workman's like style of finding contact and seeking contact, playing the puck very, very hard. Honestly, I don't see anybody else currently on our roster that would be right for a call up. So I got to agree with you on Melanson 1,000% on that, dude. Got a 5B for you actually to close it out. Birds and Gulls this Thursday night, 6:30 puck drop. Will it be Shad Powers or Andrew John sitting next to me in the quasi press box?
I think you're looking at a Shad Powers night.
Nice.
It's a tough one. We got a lot of high school football that night. Everybody's avoiding Friday night, Halloween, so all the football games are Thursday this week. But we're not going to leave the Firebirds unattended, so I'm going to be there Thursday. You might catch Andrew on Saturday if you go to that one as well. Costume
for you? Or will you just wear a suit now that you're a suit?
Maybe I will wear a tie. I haven't done that. I remember we dressed up once for a playoff game, specifically. Maybe we should do that again on Thursday. But it will be fun. I do like the night's games around Halloween. That does make me laugh to see everybody's costumes at the game and stuff, and that is kind of make it a little extra fun.
All right. Whether he's in a suit, whether he's wearing vampire fangs. Shad is also very tall, so we could kind of look toward a Sasquatch. He's got a big beard. Yeah, Frankenstein. That would be a good fit for you. Whatever you're donning, we'll look forward to seeing Birds Barn Thursday night. Thanks for the Desert Shootout segment, Chad.
Always fun. Thanks, Jed.
All right, Firebirds flock, it's going to wrap it up with this episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. Per my partner, the Desert Sun, you can check out their Firebirds reportage, along, of course, with news across our Coachella Valley at desertsun.com, or just go pick up a physical newspaper. Love reading a physical newspaper with my frosted flakes in the morning. Desert Willow Golf Resort. Make your tee times for either or both the Mountain View or Firecliff courses at desertwillow.com. Both courses now open. Again, a sweet time to be playing golf in the Coachella Valley. Love the good putt-to-puck segue. Go tee it up at DW. Skate it right on over, just about a mile. I think it's 1.3 miles away from the Birds home ice back at Shore Arena. Skated on down Cook, cut it over to Varner, bag. There you are. What a great putt day. Desert Willow. You go check out a Firebirds game. And oh, by the way, when you're poking around at desertwillow.com, be sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy for all your swing, lesson, and golf tutelage needs. Equal appreciation goes to new sponsor, or I should say sponsors, your High Desert home for Firebirds hockey, the Ground Squirrel, and the 29 Palms Beer Company. That's a great double dip right there. Go eat the Ground Squirrel, got that sweet gastropub style scratch-made menu, and then go check out some of the phenomenal beers crafted right on site, the 29 Palms Beer Company, where they're televising every Firebirds game, home or away. Equal appreciation this episode goes to the guest, Tyson Jugnauth. So enjoyed watching Tyson in his rookie season with the Firebirds. And, of course, the Desert Suns, Shad Powers, closing out this episode with the new Desert Shootout segment. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We will see you this Thursday as the Birds look for some vengeance against those San Diego Gulls. Puck drop at 6:30 p.m. Appreciate your time. Everybody out there, be well.